MYD Smart is proudly sponsored by PwC Namibia, building trust in the Namibian business community.
99 FM, your inspiration station. Welcome back here on the show. It's time for MYD Smart. And today we are joined by PwC Techs and Operations partner, Johan Nel. Now, Johan started his career with PwC Namibia in 2006 and gained extensive experience on a wide range of clients and industries in the auditing environment. Now, he is actively involved in tax consulting, deals, and tax structuring. And Johan also heads up the internal operations of PwC Namibia and is a qualified chartered accountant and a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Namibia and South African Institute of Chartered Accountants. And he's joining us in the studio to talk to us about ESG and its importance in business and businesses. Good afternoon to you, Johan, and thank you for joining us here on 99 FM.
That's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. So our first question, Johan, environmental, social and governance, or ESG aspects. What does this mean exactly?
So it's all about, it's a very wide term. So it's all about your impact on society, your impact on the environment, and the governments that you have. So it's about accountability, it's about reporting, and it's about sustainability of businesses. Financial profits alone are no longer the only metric that's used to evaluate businesses. Everybody wants to know, what is your impact on society, what is the impact on the environment. So it's becoming something a lot more relevant than it used to be. As the power of social media also expands, people want to know, what are we doing for society?
And for the environment. Yes, definitely. Why is there scrutiny on businesses as far as ESG is concerned?
So as I mentioned, power of social media. A lot of people can express their opinions. They can have a view and they suddenly have followers. Previously, not all opinions were factored into in society. These days, if you do something wrong, it's in the media and you get a lot of negative exposure. So that's the one reason. The other one is from an investment perspective. A lot of financial investment firms are now looking at ESG criteria. So they're saying, if I want to invest in you, what's the long-term sustainability of this company? Am I having a positive influence on society? Am I using fair labor practices? So it's not about the financial metrics alone. So it's becoming more and more relevant for investment managers to look at that. In the US, you've got a firm called BlackRock Investments, and they've got ESG criteria at one of the top ends of making sure that whenever they invest into a firm, that all that ESG aspects are in place.
How will the implementation of ESG impact on businesses? What happens in a practical setting? What happens then?
So obviously, you need more resources. As with anything new, somebody needs to monitor what you're doing. So if you start monitoring your impact on society, on the environment, in terms of what are you holding people accountable for, somebody needs to monitor that. So obviously there's costs involved in terms of people having to monitor that. And then, of course, your strategies need to align with that. So for businesses, they have to change the strategies. They have to change the way that they maybe procure in their supply chain to make sure that what are they using. When we look at who do you buy from, where do you distribute to, what's your carbon footprint? All of these things play a role. So in terms of your strategy, it's something that needs to change for businesses. So that obviously going to take some resources just to factor that in.
In terms of Namibian businesses, Johan, how do we implement ESGs with Namibian businesses?
So to start easy, we've got a lot of sunlight. A lot of businesses are transitioning to solar energy. That's one way. We support recycling. There's also the social outreach programs that a lot of entities are already doing. So to start simple, I would encourage people just to have a look at what are they currently doing. Is there a way to align their strategies to make sure that we're looking at sustainability and that we communicate that to the stakeholders?
Just one question quickly, Johan. Just a personal question I actually want to ask you in terms of this. So let's say I'm a business and I've been doing, all of this, factoring in the financial matrix, like you mentioned, and I haven't been, focusing on ESGs. Do I have to now completely revamp in order to implement and accommodate, the ESGs in my business?
I think you just need to consider it and see what are you doing currently, and try to get a feeling of where is the company already involved in ESG? Because I said ESG is very wide.
Yeah.
So yes, you can go very complicated, and you can design strategies, and you can revise everything to take this ESG into account. But as we know, businesses are struggling to now go and spend 100, 200, 300,000
on rebranding and all that,
your strategy for something that's not going to add a lot of value. I won't recommend that. It's all about factoring in existing things and just communicating that and making people aware of the impact that you're already doing. I mean, if you go and hand out blankets to a children's home, that's already an impact you have on society. So let's just communicate that, and let's all work together so we can communicate our stories.
Yeah. And then finally, Johan, what is your advice to businesses that want to implement ESGs but don't know where to begin? Because it could be that maybe they don't understand what it is and what they need to do. So what advice do you have for a business like that who wants to implement ESGs but don't know how to go about it?
So I think the first thing is about awareness. So we're creating awareness through this talk already. There's a lot of material on the internet that you can read at. PwC's got dedicated pages just on ESG. And then, as I said, you have to understand maybe there's something you're already doing. Maybe in your CSR projects you're handing out food to less privileged people. That's something that you can take, you can communicate that, and you can monitor that.
Yeah.
So ideally, start with a spreadsheet or a Word document, something that you can use and say, these are the activities that I've gone through over the last 2 or 3 months, and you start telling your story through that. And there's various ways of that. There's social media that you can use. There's in terms of if there's board meetings, if there's anything like that, you can have a set agenda point about what is our ESG impact, and is there something we need to revise in our strategy in order to fulfill that?
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Johan, for coming through to come chat to us about ESGs. I've definitely learned something new today. So thank you so much for joining us here on 99 FM.
Thank you.
That is Johan Nel in studio, PwC Techs and Operations Partner. If you missed out on the interview, don't worry. You can always go rewind it on the app. So make sure you download the app right now and register on the app. And you have exclusive access to all our amazing interviews right here on your inspiration station, 99 FM.
MYD Smart was proudly sponsored by PwC Namibia, building trust in the Namibian business community.